Hello and welcome to the pregame with Kurt Jangle. I am Kurt Jangle, the host of the pregame with Kurt Jangle. I am joined with today by including also as well as ZERPIE. ZERPIE, how you doing?
What's up, man? I'm doing
Save
great.
me from my own intro, please.
Gotta love it.
I was like, I'm on a roll with this, and this is going to be a really good flat tire right there on the highway. How you been? How's life treating you?
It's been good. Happy 4th of July.
Yay!
Out here, it's a beautiful summer day here where I am.
Yeah,
and I'm having a beer.
nice. Speaking of, I need to get. What are you sipping on over there?
I'm just going with Bud Light,
Bud Light, nice, classic.
classic. And I also have in the little mini fridge back here. I've got a Sweetwater hazy IPA
Oh, nice.
next. So love the hazy
Yeah.
IPA.
Oh yeah, definitely. Those are always my favorite. When I do get all my show notes and stuff ready, I take my laptop to False Idol, and I'll get a couple hazies. I'm getting ready. I got a Lucky Wolf. It's their rice lager. I haven't tried this one yet, so
Can't say that I've
Also-
ever had a rice lager.
I also dropped it when I was getting out of the car earlier. I don't think the rings were
Well,
fully.
You've opened it
attached.
safely, so it's not an ultimate disaster.
Oh, that's tasty. That's good stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a lager. It's a rice adjunct lager, and it's nice and crispy and cold. Tastes like a beer should taste, and
Excellent.
it's got always with the good artwork. With the
Yeah, that's pretty
false
cool. I
idol.
like that.
Oh yeah, they actually sell the extra can stickers. They sell them at the counter.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, to do the runs, they don't use all the stickers for the cans. They'll just sell them at the counter for like 50 cents each or something like that.
Nice.
Mm.
It's a smart
Good stuff.
uh,
Good stuff.
smart thing to do with that.
Yeah. Let's see here. I don't usually jump in with a little bit of news, but there's not really. I mean, there's news.
There's always
news. There's a lot of news, but nothing really in the sphere of what we talk about on this show. Although we did talk about a little bit, like before we hit live, talking about Microsoft and layoffs and stuff like that. Not a great place for the gaming industry, but we've also we're both like patient gamers. Like, all right, well, I'm not buying everything day one anyway, and
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't even have the current consoles. Like that's how much I've kind of gotten, out of the whole.
Oh yeah, I
Current
resisted
gen.
so long in buying the newer consoles,
Mhm.
and I mean, maybe I'm part of the problem that people just aren't,
Well, plus I'm a PC gamer as well, so like I have a
yeah.
current PC that
Yeah.
I built, so I can play games when they come out on PC. But it's just I'm not keeping up with the consoles. I will get the Switch 2 eventually.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Just have to really wait until I'm ready to start paying more money for games.
Yeah, I'm really on the fence about the Switch 2. It's like I love my Switch, or I did. When
Luckily,
I was
you
really into
will
it,
be
but
able
like
to
now
play
it's
those games.
huh?
Luckily you'll still be able to play that library that you have.
Oh yeah, but it's just I also just canceled my Nintendo Switch Online subscription because I'm
Gotcha,
like
yeah.
I'm not using.
Yeah, if
this.
you're not using it.
It was about to renew, and it's like a once a year thing. It used to be $20 a year, and now it's like 50.
Yeah, depending on if you want like the N64 stuff and
Yeah.
the Sega Genesis.
It was about to renew, and I was just like, I don't use this. I haven't played anything on that. Like the last thing I played on the Switch was that Star Wars free-to-play multiplayer shooter.
I don't even know what that was.
Well, it's gone now. It didn't last very long. They've already delisted that. It was fine, but
well, speaking of Star Wars shooters, Star Wars Battlefront 2 has kind of made a comeback. So I hear.
I've been hearing about that. I keep forgetting about that. Yeah, but that is
I keep hearing that the player base is kind of going crazy right now. But every time I've jumped into the game on PC, it still feels kind of empty. I feel like there's like I join a game and there's 5 human players on my team. I'm like, is this really how active
Yeah.
the game is? But
This is the big comeback.
done before, so
Yeah.
it's been neat to kind of jump into some games there. But I'm not a competitive online multiplayer gamer.
Oh
I
no,
don't have the patience for that. I will get
I don't like
very
competitive. I will jump into Helldivers 2 with some friends anytime
do
they
some
ask.
co-op.
But yeah, competitive. That's not my bag.
Yeah.
You know,
But yeah, that's
I don't even
Battlefront
like
2
playing.
was one of those games though. It's a beautiful game and I love Star Wars. So I don't mind jumping into that again and maybe this will kind of inspire them to keep making these games and making them better.
I've been hearing that's the main rumblings. I've been hearing people are like, now that it's picking steam back up again, people are like, hey, what about Battlefront 3?
Yeah.
Like, can we get to a Battlefront 3 finally?
Or speaking of Helldivers as well, because I know I read an article earlier this week that's saying that the Battlefront 3 was right in front of our face and it's basically Helldivers. And they said there's mods for Helldivers. Was it Helldivers 2, where you can put Star Wars skins on it and everything, and people are really enjoying that. So they're like, if that's kind of the trend is going over there, then maybe the next Star Wars game should be that.
I mean, it wouldn't be too hard to do a total conversion mod and just turn Helldivers 2 into a Clone Wars Battlefront. Like, it's right there. It is so close the way things are set up and the way, like, it wouldn't be a whole lot. Get some new character skins and environment skins, and maybe hire a couple voice actors to do some lines, and you got it. You got a pretty cheap conversion into a Battlefront 3.
And how many times did a modding community kind of take over and then develop a game out of it? So many games came from that. Didn't I mean, MOBAs came from that. It wasn't it just mods. So
yeah, what is it? Team Fortress
2. Yeah, that was a mod. Portal, I think, was just kind of a mod on.
Well, the whole Orange Box or whatever, the Half-Life 2, like everything that came out of Half-Life 2.
Yeah. Just everyone was playing with the Source 2 engine, and then they're like, hey, you want jobs? Now you're a game developer.
Literally, like, you want a job? We'll give you a job. Like, well, we'll publish your game.
Which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's not a bad place to be. That's okay. That kind of ties back into, like, we're like, oh, the video game industry is in trouble. Let's get back to that model of, like, looking into the community and finding the passionate, talented, skilled people and just going, hey, like, you're doing this on your own anyway. We'll toss you a little bit of a budget and we'll put it out.
And I believe that was even the model behind Sonic Mania. I think Sonic Mania was made by just Sonic fans who were just like, we want like an old school Sonic game again, like a 2D side scroller, and they made it, and it was awesome.
Yeah, and you can do that all day long, and you don't have to spend $1 million on every video game that comes out.
Yeah,
I posted earlier in the super secret Discord. It's not so secret anymore. I've got thousands of dollars of video game equipment and software sitting around, and I played Vampire Survivors all morning.
Yeah. I love Vampire Survivors, though.
I was playing the Contra expansion.
See, I need to get the expansions now because I unlocked everything in the core game. Yeah. So I got the core game free. It was one of the free games on Epic Games one week. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to get this game, and then addicted to it, and I unlocked everything in the core. So now I'm like, all right, I need all the DLC.
Well, the expansions are like $2.
Yeah.
So I went on a spree. I bought like 5 expansions at once. I got like the Japanese themed one, and the Contra one, and the Castlevania one. They have like some deal with Konami, so they're doing a bunch of Konami spinoff.
Makes sense.
Stuff.
I mean, that whole game is a love letter to Castlevania.
Oh yeah. It's so much fun. I just had a great time doing that, and give me more stuff like that. That's just fun.
Yeah.
I'll play a fun game all day over just like a really I don't need more sad dad simulators. I need more fun games.
Exactly. Well, there's so many companies though are seeing these modders and these guys who are just kind of homebrewing their own games on top, improving already existing IPs, and they're just shutting them down. So many times I hear about, oh, hey, there's this game that you used to love where you can't play it anymore. It's not available anymore. So this team of just fans started like remaking it so that you can play it again. And then the company just says, no, we're going to shut you down. And then we're also not going to make it. So
yeah, we're not going to do it either.
Yeah. It's like,
but that
you used to give people jobs doing that shit.
Yeah. But I mean, that also happened like years and years back. There was a fan project that was a 3D Chrono Trigger remake. And I was followed the website back when there was websites. It wasn't on a Facebook page or a MySpace page about it. It was they had their own website.
Yeah.
People used to have entire websites dedicated to things, kids. I don't know if you remember that. It wasn't these walled gardens we have now. But there's a whole website about the process, the making of and everything. And it was gorgeous. It was PlayStation 2 era-ish. So that kind of level of graphics, but the art style worked so well for that. Maybe PlayStation 2, 3, somewhere in that era, maybe a middle step there. But that style art just looked gorgeous in that, kind of, more stylized look. And then, Square Enix found out about it and like, you're done. We're shutting you down. You can't even just pay them to do the rest of it. I would have paid real money for that.
Nintendo does the same thing. They're notorious for that. They're like Disney. It's just you don't mess with the mouse. You don't mess with the plumber.
Yeah, the plumber and the mouse. You get they're litigious creatures.
Yes.
Oh. All right. So I feel like I had something else about video games, but I want to get into the meat of this. So you are an action figure photographer. People don't know that. You want to play a little bit of that, kind of explain to people that don't know?
Yeah, sure. A few years ago, right before the pandemic, I got into collecting wrestling action figures because I loved collecting action figures as a kid. The only wrestling action figures I had as a kid were the WCW Toy Biz line, the Smash and Slam figures that came out in like 1998. So it kind of like I was looking at what Mattel was doing with WWE action figures around this time, and I was like, man, they look really awesome. They're way better than the ones I had as a kid. And I was like, I'm just gonna get a few of the guys I really like. So I started collecting just a few of them, and then at that time, Jazzwares started making the AEW line of action figures, and then I got rolled up in that. And then eventually, just that collection was growing and growing, and I was like, I want to do something with these. Because it's just I'm spending money on them anyway. What are some cool things I can do with them? And I saw this action figure photography on Instagram. Other guys were doing this online, other collectors, and just it's literally setting up a scene as if it's a real wrestling match with an arena and a ring, a referee and wrestlers and everything, and lighting, and it looked really cool. And I always wanted to get into photography. So I figured this was a good excuse to buy a camera and just start taking pictures and kind of learn how to do it as I go. And that's what I've been doing. It's just a fun hobby I have where I just post my pictures on Instagram, ZERPIE_MD on Instagram. And you can go check out my figures over there. And then it's more reason to just keep spending money on these action figures.
Nice. So it's always been, the collection has always been basically built around like wrestling action figures, not like you don't have collections of anything else really, or?
Well, it was mainly wrestling figures, but then of course, once you kind of get into the collecting, the figure collecting community online, you're seeing other stuff, what other companies are coming out with. So, I ended up getting into, I know, Marvel Legends is huge for toy collectors. And I kept looking at those because I loved X-Men and I had a bunch of X-Men figures as a kid. And so I kept looking at those like, oh, that's so cool, but I cannot start collecting a whole nother line. And then X-Men 97 came out and I was like, okay, I'll buy those. So all the X-Men 97 Marvel Legends figures, I did get those. And then Black Series Star Wars figures. I was looking at those. I was like, those look cool. Those remind me of the Kenner figures that I was collecting as a kid. And then so I was like, okay, I'll only buy the core kind of stars of that, like get the Luke, Han Solo, Leia, Chewbacca, C-3PO, R2-D2, all the Vader, and then Stormtroopers. But then you can't have just one Stormtrooper, so you got to have at least 4. And then I saw that they did I forget who did it, but they did Ghostbusters movie action figures. So I'm like, well, I have to get those as well. So I've dipped my toe into other lines, but I'm mostly sticking with wrestling. So just the Mattel WWE, like the Legends, and then AEW current guys.
Nice.
Because it just gets too expensive.
Oh yeah, I mean we're at a point now where action figures are actually more for adults than they are for anybody else.
100%.
Yeah, because like my friends that have kids, they'd never tell me about what their kids are playing with. They're just like, oh yeah, they're on their iPad and they're playing Roblox or Fortnite or what's the other thing that just had the movie? Minecraft.
Yeah.
They're never like, yeah, my kid just got a new Gambit action figure. And they really love that. Like, oh, that's gonna get tragic for them.
Yeah. Because I mean I loved action figures growing up. I had the Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters. Batman 89 was a big one. That's another one I have. Batman. I do have a slight Batman collection as well.
Did the Batman Returns marketing infect your brain like it did mine?
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know. Was something about the way the graphic design of all the stuff for the Batman Returns roulette, that inverted black and white bat logo?
Yeah, that's right.
I see that and something. It's like a Jason Bourne. Something awakens in my brain. I'm like, I'm Batman. Like I don't know why that had it hooked in me so much. I don't even care for any of the toys that came out of it. It's just like,
well, the toys were weird too because they did not really base them on the movie at all.
Oh no,
the Penguin was just a repaint of like the old, like Super Friends or whatever Penguin they had.
Oh, the Superpowers.
Yeah, Superpowers. That's right. That whole line. It was just a repaint of that line. And there's like, here's the Penguin. I'm like, that's not the Penguin. I saw that movie.
That's not the Penguin. No, that is.
The Penguin is the reason why Tim Burton isn't directing the third movie. Because that's why they couldn't make the toys off of that. Like they're like, we can't sell this. This guy's disgusting. There's just black stuff coming out of his mouth. What do you do to Dane DeVito? And then there's like, we'll just bring in Joel Schumacher for the next movie.
Yeah, there was a big backlash, I think, too. Like, a bunch of people got mad at McDonald's.
Yeah, as if
or was that the first one of the Burton Batman movies? Parents got mad at McDonald's for the toys.
Yeah,
they're like, "Well, you have toys for this? Yeah. This is the movie you're selling toys for?"
So basically, that's why they got rid of Tim Burton, because there's like, you're not making a movie that we can market to families, even though it did well. But they're like, we can't sell toys off of it, so we need someone who's just gonna do neon everywhere. And
I will say I like the art direction of the Schumacher stuff.
Oh yeah, me too. I actually stumbled upon a video last weekend. There's a video just about a guy talking about super mega cities or whatever in movies and just the art design of it.
Yeah.
And he was specifically going through the Batman movies as well as jumping around to like other stuff like Blade Runner, stuff like that, with these like mega cities and kind of weird cities, and how Gotham got like more and more weird as the movies went on, because by Batman and Robin, you had giant statues in the city holding up buildings that you would enter. It's like, what the hell is this?
Oh yeah, it was great. And I think the Arkham games really played with that in a more grounded way, to where I think that Arkham City has one of the most believable open worlds that a Batman game could have.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It feels like a real weird neo-Gothic Gotham City, but also feels like a real, city. Like there's, it's ground enough where you're like, yeah, that's that's obviously a bank building. Yeah, it's got a statue on it, but it's a bank building.
I
I
love
really
that.
appreciated the art.
I love there was even like an underground area and everything to the
Yeah.
city where there's like an older city underground. And there's like that's when you like run into the whole like the assassins or whatever.
Oh yeah, Wonder City.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love.
Yeah, there's
Wonder
like
City.
that whole thing, and I was like, "Wow, this opens up like even more." There's like more lore down here and everything. It's really cool.
Mm.
God, I played that game through so many times.
Oh,
That's
I
one of
need to
those
go
where like
back
every
to it.
couple years I just have to play
Yeah.
Arkham City again.
Well, now that I got this new laptop, I want to play it on here just to see just to max it out and see what it's going to look like.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Nostis is in the chat. I think there was a Patrick H. Willems video. I was talking about the video you were watching.
Oh yeah, probably. I don't know. I was watching it on. Someone sent me a link to this YouTube kind of channel surfing site where you can just flip through channels and it's always just playing something. You'll just like join the middle of a video. And it was, I don't know, it was just a really cool thing where it's like, this feels like my childhood flipping through channels. And I just stumbled upon that video and I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this now.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. I have to look that up.
Yeah, me and my friends were talking about last weekend, just some guy made a video about how he designed just a closed kind of broadcast television in his house. He has a server that was running where multiple channels going on. He even has like, he made a cable box for it. And then there's even like a TV guide channel, whatever, where it's like scrolling up, telling you what's coming up and everything. And just, it's constantly 24/7 just running on a loop of just, you can change through all kinds of channels. I was like, that would be so cool to make, but man, a lot of work.
Yeah.
Even like he has the commercials in between and they go with each channel and everything. So I'm like, yeah, that's a lot of work. It's really cool. I would buy that if someone made it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do it myself.
Sell me that in a box for $50 and I might buy that. I need Disney Plus to just do a Simpsons channel like that. Just a 24/7 Simpsons channel. I just jump in there and watch a couple episodes.
Yeah.
Instead of going like, okay, where do I start from? Do I start from the beginning or do I manually pick random episodes to watch?
Do I just keep watching seasons 3 through 10 over and over again?
Yeah, right. Because I just want that experience like I had coming home from school and sitting down and watching 2 episodes of The Simpsons.
Yeah, it was always like The Simpsons right before dinner.
Yeah. It was like, from like 5 to 6 or something. It was The Simpsons little block. It's 2 random episodes.
Oh, simpler times.
Oh, definitely. Let's see what else we going at here. What else was I going to ask you? We talked about, because you kind of jumped in and answered the questions I was going to ask before.
Sorry about that.
I was going to ask.
I've answered the questions so many times that I just have it ready to go.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask how how the collection got started, and then
and really now it's just
the first one.
Because when you start collecting or when you start doing figure photography too, there's a lot of stuff you just don't have, and you accrue it over time. You're looking at other people who have done figure photography and you're like, oh, cool. They have little like detailed everything here. I don't have all that crap. And then as you're collecting, you just acquire stuff. And then after a while, like I just have I know Blade and Brett Michelle.
So again, this is a question I was going to ask is about how building up the, the arsenal for the photography stuff. And you're already.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I've already got the lower thirds ready for all this stuff. And you're this
That's
is
awesome.
great. Keep going. Because I was going to ask, like, what do you start with, and then what do you realize you need as you go?
Yeah,
whether it's new and more figures, more backgrounds, or just little accessories to like help.
It's just doing it and seeing like what's working, what's not working. Just you imagine a shot. You're like, I wish I had this to make that shot. Well, they make that thing probably. But I was gonna say I made Blade and Brett Michelle laugh when I was on the Hard Way talking about action figures and figure photography and how I was like, you just accrue parts. And so now I just have like boxes of just tackle boxes you open up and it's just hands and heads just that you could swap out on guys and accessories and like tables and ladders and chairs. Oh my. There's just all these little things you have. And then even I had the backdrop arena that Extreme sells, but every couple of years they like redo it and they like upgrade it in a better way, or they realize the design wasn't like, it didn't work this way structurally. So they came out with a newer version of the arena, and then I was like, I need that. So like, let me drop money on that too. And then after a while, you're like, wow, if I wanted to have all this stuff when I started, it would have cost me a fortune. But as I was going, I just bought a little thing here, a little thing there, lights and stuff. You can just go on Amazon. You can find like these really cool little LED lights that you can set up that have diffusers and different colored gels you can put in there to just change the color of the shot and everything. It's little things you just play around with. It's just like studio photography, just on a miniature scale.
Nice. Yeah. So like, is it, you say about going on Amazon, is there like, like people on Etsy or whatever that are super into this niche and they sell things just for like, just for this specific hobby?
Oh yeah. Not just
everybody's
Etsy too.
got,
There's just like real companies that are just set up for this stuff. Like I mentioned, Extreme Sets sells all these backdrops and props and everything for figure photography, not just pro wrestling, but everything. They have backdrops for like that easily work with like Street Fighter characters. So it looks like, one of the stages and everything. They've got sewers for Ninja Turtles and all that stuff. They've got rooftops for like Spider-Man and Batman and everything. But, yeah, there's also like figure, what was it? FTC, Figures Toy Company. They for many years made really bad wrestling figures of like kind of like independent guys. They did like the Young Bucks and everything back in the day. And the figures were terrible. They look like crap, but they've really upped their game and not making actual people, but making the accessories for all the stuff. So they even make their own wrestling rings. If you don't want to drop the money on WWE or AEW's ring that they make, you can buy one of theirs and you can customize it. You can get different ropes, different colors, different turnbuckle pads. They now just did a whole thing with different audience members. So if you want to build an audience of just random people in the crowd, they make those and you can buy them individually, or you can buy them in packs of 4 and just all this really cool stuff. They have like I bought their announce table pack, and then they also have like folding breakaway tables and everything. They have a cameraman you can buy. They have referees you can buy. So yeah, there's all these little companies that make little things just for this hobby, because somebody looked at that and said, "Oh, I can make money off these nerds."
Yeah,
and they did, and we happily give them money.
So a lot of things get started. I can make money off these nerds, and then a company is born. So the like the crowd thing, is that like those fully like full 3D?
So
toys?
the ones, the
like
FTC, that what they make, they are actual like fully articulated wrestling figures, and it's funny. They make a little faggot. They're on Amazon. You can just look at them on Amazon. Go to like Figures Toy Company or FTC. You'll see a bunch of accessories. You go to their store, you'll see the guys that make, and they made just random stuff for a while. Like they had the license for Batman 66 for a while, so they were making Batman 66 action figures. You can buy a Adam West and a Burt Ward from them.
We got Gnosis back in the chat. Have you ever thought about doing stop motion?
Yes, I've done a little bit of stop motion just for fun. But I don't have the patience to get into that. That is so much. The still photography is already like a lot of work to sit there and do the stop motion. There's guys who have rigs, professional stop motion rigs, that I'll watch them do their stuff, and it's amazing. There's some guys on Instagram, if you find their stuff, so cool. Like someone like actually animate. God, what was it? I think it was Prince versus Michael Jordan playing basketball, and it was basically straight out of the Dave Chappelle sketch. Nice. But like, oh man, such good stuff. I can't do it, justice if I try to do the stop motion, so I will leave it to those guys. But someone asked for one where I did something with Aubrey Edwards. I have a little Aubrey Edwards action figure, and I think it was a Neon Ghost asked me if I would just animate her doing just the crotch chop. And so I did. I think I remember that. Sent it to him. I was like, here you go. It's not very good, but it's decent.
Nice. What else was I gonna? Oh, all right. Do you have a favorite in your collection? And do you have a grail?
Who
You have something, a toily grail.
a favorite?
Or really pushing that pun. I needed.
um,
And
it's hard to really determine a favorite because
you could do recency bias too. I don't need. It doesn't have to be all time favorite. Just be like top of your head. The one you're like looking, just think about like, man, I love that figure.
The one that I'm kind of most excited about recently would be the Jazzwares Surfer Sting they did recently.
Oh,
because it was really exciting to have a Surfer Sting again. Mattel did a Surfer Sting, or a couple of them, years ago, but that was kind of before the Mattel figures are what they are today, where they have interchangeable hands and heads and everything and different expressions and more articulation. So Jazzwares now doing it now where it came with different heads and hands and everything. That was kind of cool, where I'm like, cool, I got a Sting I can actually really do different expressions with and different poses with. So it's good for figure photography.
Nice.
A grail would be probably anyone that they don't have under license anymore to make anything. I would say probably like the Road Warriors. Mattel did make them in the past, but they don't have the license for them anymore. So again, they have these old ones that are very expensive if you can get your hands on them, but they're not as good as if they release them today. And then recently, Ringside Collectibles, they are like the online retailer for wrestling figures. They started their own line, and the first figures they released was the Road Warriors. So there is a new version of the Road Warriors, and they kind of are like Jazzwares AEW figures, the way they're made. So those are good, but I still think the Mattel ones look better. They just don't have the swappable heads and hands, and they don't make them anymore. And they're very rare, and I would love to have them.
Nice.
But I probably never will.
Yeah. I had how many? So did you ever have the original WWF chunky plastic action figures?
The LJN, the big,
was it LJN or was
big
it
rubber ones? Those
no,
are
not the rubber ones. Not
so
the
then the
ones.
Hasbros.
The Hasbros, yeah.
Okay, yeah, Hasbros. They did the ones, later, early 90s,
late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah. I didn't have those. My friends did. I had a friend growing up, Trevor, who had all those guys. I remember going to his house, and he had Jake the Snake Roberts because he came with the snake and everything.
Yeah.
He had Hogan, Boss Man, Roddy Piper. God, who else did he have? Oh, he had Jim Duggan. All those guys. Those are great too. They all came with accessories and stuff.
So Jim Duggan was when I was collecting those, playing with those, I kicked and screamed and begged for the Jim Duggan for some reason. I don't know why, but I had to have it. Mark. Yeah, let's see if I can do the screen share thing without losing everything for people that don't know. And you're gonna people are gonna hear this and be like, well, yeah, good action figure is a good action figure. I understand why you really get into it, emotional about wanting it when you're a little kid. I'm like, nah, man, you don't. This is not something that you should be like, oh, I really need to have that.
There it is. Look at him.
Look at that.
He's got a thumb.
What a quality action figure. Yeah. It's just a dad.
He's got hack attack. He's just a dad.
It's somebody's dad in his underwear.
That's just Jim Duggan. That was his whole career.
I just loved Jim Duggan back then, and it was, and I got it home, and my parents were like, okay, you have to do your math homework before you can play with it, though. And I was like, okay, fine. And I just stared at my math homework for 5 minutes, like, I can't do this. I need to play with Jim Duggan. They finally relented.
Yeah, so I was always around those figures. Like my cousins had the LJNs. Then my friends growing up had the Hasbro. Then I think my next door neighbor had the WWF Bone Crunchers.
Ooh.
Those were mid to late 90s.
Yeah.
Those were great. I had a few of those too.
Did Jazzwares used to do WWF figures or WWE figures?
So kind of. Well, Jeremy Pradauer, who runs Jazzwares, originally started off at Jakks Pacific making WWE figures.
It was Jakks. That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's where I got confused. Okay.
So, and they're the ones who kind of really showed WWE that there's money in the older fans. They want the the classic guys, they want the legends, because they have money now and it's nostalgia. So he's like, let's do. So he actually started the classic superstars. Actually, I have one right here. Classic
yeah.
superstars line.
See that?
And it was all these legends figures. So I got a big boss man here.
It's a big boss man.
Yeah. So
What's up,
Lacey
Bubba?
Trailer, Boss Man's daughter, gave me this.
Yeah, plug that.
So-
Plug that while you got the
Yeah,
image there.
I co-host the Bubba Cast with
What's up,
Lacey
Bubba?
Trailer, Big Boss Man's daughter, and it's just a podcast about the career of the Big Boss Man. And so we skip around and do cover different shows that he was on, that had matches on. And yeah, she gave me that years ago when we worked together. And but yeah, that was Jerry Padower's kind of pet project. Was like, guys, really, you need to go for the adult collector market. So he made those figures. They did very well. And then when Mattel took over the WWE license, then they started doing a separate Legends line there. Now that is a Target exclusive line.
Mhm.
But yeah, they get a lot of my money because I like I don't collect the current WWE guys, but I will keep buying the Legends.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think I heard. I can't remember where I heard it from. That Barry Darsow just signed a Legends deal, so there should be maybe some classic Demolition and Repo Man figures coming.
Yeah, that was another one. A team that they didn't have. They made the figures years ago, lost the license to do Demolition, but now looks like they're back and they're going to be doing that. There's some other guys, I forget who signed some deals, and I was like, oh, I know that recently WWE doing working with AAA, they had Conan on a show, and I'm like, not a huge fan of Conan, but if it means that he gets to sign a Legends contract, then we get a Wolfpack Conan action figure, then I'm happy. Give me that, please. I'll take a Max Moon. Conan as Max Moon, like the 2 months he played that character.
Right?
I'll take it.
Yeah, Max Moon. Who's the magician with the face paint? Get him going in there.
Yeah, I forget who that was.
Yeah,
that's what's great about Mattel too. They'll do these like weird, obscure characters that that was only around for a few shows. Like I have an action figure of the Goon. Nice. Just like that guy had maybe 5 televised matches.
Yeah,
but it's great. I was like, yeah, cool. A hockey player guy.
Hockey player. Yeah,
his boots were weird. They looked like skates, but they were boots.
Oh yeah, and how did he not roll his ankle every match?
I don't know. It looked like a nightmare.
Precarious situation with those things. That was old gimmicks. I
think Mattel also did like a Shockmaster action figure where he's literally like falling forward on the box, and then you like turn it around and you see the back side of him on the back of the box falling through the wall.
What did they do about the helmet?
That's what I was wondering. I need to look that up. Here, let me look up Mattel.
Well, I think Mattel's got the Star Wars license anyway, so that shouldn't have been too much of a.
Yeah, I wonder if that's what it. Here I'm looking at the thing. I wonder if was this like a exclusive or something? Because they'll do specialty figures like this, and it's just like the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive or something.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if that's what it was, but yeah, that. Oh well. I think they may have changed some details on the helmet to make it look less like a stormtrooper.
Oh, let me see. I got a picture.
I think people are actually making their own stormtrooper helmets to put on it. To make it accurate. I don't know. This is really hard to see. And yes, it looks like it was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive.
Let me see. Okay, I got it pulled up. I can screen share that.
Speaking of San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, Jazzwares announced theirs for this year. It's going to be an exclusive Swerve Strickland.
Oh, there we go. There's old Shocky. It's basically a Stormtrooper helmet, but you can see they kind of muddied the details a little bit.
I saw him at a Southern Fried Gaming Expo a couple weekends ago. I was there at Gaming Expo they do every year in Atlanta, and he was there signing autographs. He had a little booth.
Nice.
He was selling Shockmaster 8x10s and Typhoon.
I like that he's got a sense of humor about that.
Of course. It's
You
such a
know,
meme.
because
Like, you
he'd
don't
already
laugh at
had
it.
a good career before that, so it's not like, that's the make or break moment of his whole career,
Yeah.
you know?
It's
And
funny
he
too
also
in
did the,
watching it, like, he only wore the helmet that one time. And then
yeah,
after that, it's just like, that's just Fred.
yeah,
What's Fred
that's
doing?
good old Fred. When he did the, Edge of Christian show that was on the network, WWE Network for a while, and they did a whole skit with him, like, learning how to walk through a wall without tripping.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love the
That's
clip where you just hear Sid go, "I told you."
I told you.
Because like apparently earlier in the day, he's like, he's gonna trip over that.
Mm.
Sure enough.
Yeah, all the
I told you.
side chatter in that clip was great.
They're just like,
There's a
well.
Davy Boy Smith in the back goes, "He fell on his arse."
And then you see them all crowding around like nobody plays to the camera at all in those
Oh, yeah.
W clips. Even when they're doing cutting promos in the ring, like the guys are just standing with their backs to the camera. And I was like, look, you can't really blame WWE now looking back on that when they're like drilling in the people's heads. So like play to the hard cam, play to the hard cam. And then you watch
Yeah.
the rest and like, that's why they play to the hard cam. It looks
Yeah,
like
exactly. Yeah, it's just drilled into the heads. Do you ever think I don't know if I've done an exhaustive look at every picture you've taken of your, collection. What do you think about doing a mixed media project? Maybe getting like a Marvel Legends Thor versus Kenny Omega going.
I
Something like
could do
that.
something like that. Yeah. There's
Are they
some other
even in the
guys
same
I've
scale?
watched kind of do some mixed stuff like that where it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I should do some of that stuff. Mix around, just have fun with it.
Yeah. Well, I guess with AEW you'd have to use DC characters just to keep the
Exactly.
Warner Brothers
And
execs happy.
and that's the shame because the DC figures are on a different scale
Mm,
than the other ones.
they would, wouldn't they?
They're slightly bigger. Yep.
Synergy. Come on, David Zaslav. Synergy. Get your shit together.
But yeah, the DC ones, they got me into buying the Batman figures because two things they released were the 89 Batmobile, which I was like,
Yeah.
I love the 89 Batmobile so much. I was like, I will buy that. And it came
I
with a
saw
Michael
that in the
Keaton
wild the other
figure.
day. I don't know if it's the same one you're talking about, but I saw one. I was like, wow. I showed it to my buddy. I was like, dude, get
And
me
then
out
they
of here.
did a big pack of all the movie Batmans.
Ooh.
So Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Ben Affleck, Robert Pattinson, and Christian Bale. They had
Nice.
all them in there, and they all came with different, like the bat symbol to go in. It came with a bat signal, and then the different inserts for it based on what bat they would use for the movie.
Nice.
And I was like, that's pretty genius.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. They should do is just a crossover wrestler as whatever DC character.
Yeah,
I think
Mattel does that sometimes. They've done some like they do their whole thing with WWE and Masters of the Universe.
Oh, I remember
They
they did a
crossed over
Ninja
that.
Turtles one recently, didn't they?
Yeah, Ninja Turtles as well. Yeah.
So yeah, like give me like who in AEW would be a good Green Lantern?
Oh yeah, that would be true. For some reason, just Roderick Strong. I think he would be a good
Roger Strong. I was going to be somebody in Paragon or related, like Roger Strong or Danny Garcia.
Yeah,
Just somebody that's like, I don't give up. I'm just going to fight.
Yeah,
but I could see, Roderick Strong as especially like a Hal Jordan Green Lantern.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
That's perfect. This could be a fun little game. I'm trying to think of
because what crossovers have they done? They've done Street Fighter. They did figures for that too. The Young Bucks and Kenny as the Street Fighter characters.
Yeah. You still get those in the wild, like normal prices.
Yeah, I think they're like GameStop carries those.
Yeah, I thought those would be like immediately bought up, scalp, secondary market. Like, good luck.
Yeah, And how weird is that? That Akuma was Kenny Omega as Akuma, but now Roman Reigns is going to be playing.
That's
in the movie.
Okay, We can talk about that for a minute. I forgot about this. Street Fighter movie casting is
Are they
so weird.
partnered with WWE or something?
I
Is this a
posted somewhere
WWE
that I think
Films?
they pulled out a Mad Libs page for the casting, and they're just inserting random names.
I don't know if I even know all the casting, so if you can find the list, let's go through this.
I don't know if I don't know if there's one specific list.
Oh, that's a good one right there. Swerve Strickland as Static Shock. Yeah, well, he did the cosplay, right?
Yeah. Swerve's cosplay ring gear is so good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember when I went to Double or Nothing 2024, he did the Warriors gear, which was really cool. I was there with my dad. I had to explain to him the Warriors. He's never seen it.
I actually haven't either. I played the game on the PS2, but I never actually sat down and
I
watched
have the
movie.
game. I haven't played it. I should play it.
All right,
yeah,
so I
the
got
movie-
the cast
the movie's
list
all right.
here from Deadline. So Andrew Koji as Ryu. I wish it would say something they've been in. It's just the
Yeah,
name.
'cause I'm like, who is that?
Who's Andrew Koji? Noah Centennial is Ken.
Andrew
Kalina
Koji.
Liang is Chun-Li. These first three, I'm like, okay, cool, I get that. Those, yeah.
Yeah.
And Bison, David Dasmalchian. I'd never say his name right.
Yeah. So yeah, he shows up in everything.
As Bison.
Every comic book property he's in. But
Like,
that is weird for him to be M. Bison.
I get the face. He's got the face. I'm like, I get that. You give him that hat, and I can see that. But he is a wiry dude.
M. Bison's huge.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Bison is just muscle on muscle.
And look,
on
maybe
anger.
this dude's gonna beef the hell up. He's just gonna be on the juice like crazy. But
who did that recently? Kamal Nanjiani did that.
Yeah.
But he was hanging out with Batista all the time.
Yeah.
So Batista's like, hey, here's a meal plan and protein. Like I got a special protein from whatever that's twice as effective.
Yeah. Super rare, super hard to get.
Yeah. I got the old Ico Pro hookup from back in the day. So
Ico
Pro. Cody Rhodes is Guile.
Yeah. I mean, he's got the gimmick.
He already looks like, yeah.
I don't know if he's that great of an actor though.
He's not.
We saw him.
I never watched him on the CW verse.
Yeah, on
stuff,
Arrow.
So, yeah.
I know. Yeah, there was a episode of Arrow where he was selling a drug called gold dust. Ironically.
Oh, of course he was.
Yeah.
What a worker. Let me see if I can. I'm just going to share the screen I got up here. So, okay. Jason Momoa is Blanca.
That makes sense.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right. I'm not even mad about that. He's such a goof anyway.
I pegged him for Akuma instead of Roman Reigns.
Yeah. But also, like, now I can't think of anybody else playing Blanca.
Yeah, that's true. You just make him CGI.
50 Cent as Balrog. All right. Yes, I'm not.
It works.
I'm not mad about that. Orville Peck is Vega.
Is he going to leave the mask on?
He has to. I mean, he doesn't. That's actually the most of his face I've ever seen.
Yeah,
he's usually got tassels.
Yeah,
So
he's going to keep kayfabe.
Oh yeah, I'm fine with that. That works out real nice.
Yeah.
Either Orville Peck or get Bandito to be Vega.
That'd be awesome. Hey, can he act? Don't know. Don't care.
Don't care. Don't care. Did you watch Bandito's HAEW with RJ City?
No, I didn't.
So there's a point in it where RJ City gets him to sing a traditional Mexican folk song. And he gets done singing. RJ City's like, that was gorgeous. That was beautiful. And Bandito looks and goes, thank you, puppy. And I was like, whoo, hello. You made a straight man blush. Andrew Scholl as Dan Hibicki. Yeah, that's No
This is
argument
getting
there.
into Street Fighter characters that I'm unfamiliar with.
Oh, Dan? Oh, Dan is great.
Like, when does he come in?
He comes in, I think, the alpha games,
Okay.
but he's like, he studied the same style as Ken and Ryu, but he's just terrible at it.
Okay.
His fireball goes like 2 inches.
Good.
Like,
Because
it's got
I
less
only ever
range than
play as
his
Ken and
punch.
Ryu, so if I
Yeah.
can jump in and already know someone's moves, even if they're bad
Yeah.
at them, then I'll
Oh, yeah.
have to play. I'll load it up. I think I've got Alpha 1 and 2 on the arcade machine behind me.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, give Dan a try. It's
I'm always bad at fighting games.
yeah. So same here. Yeah, then Roman Reigns as Akuma, like
It's not bad. I'm just worried
why are
that
there
this movie
so
is not going to
many?
be any better than the original Street Fighter
I don't
movie.
think they're trying to be better. I think they're best case scenario is they do a shot for shot remake with this cast.
Yes. I'm down.
I'm waiting for it, and I know for a fact almost that if this casting continues the way it is going right now, they're going to cast they're going to have to cast Rusev as Zangief.
Zangief, yeah.
Yeah. Like that's do that one, and then then they're probably
who do you have?
Nanjiani is going to be Dawson.
Did they cast E Honda?
I haven't seen that yet.
Okay. So I'm like, who's big enough to be E Honda?
Yeah, I don't know. That's Nostis in the chat. I don't think you can do a good movie with Street Fighter. You just lean into the goofiness.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 2, the anime though. Ooh. Like that's you'd have to do an anime. You couldn't do it a live action. Yeah. I get that. Live action Street Fighter doesn't work.
What about the latest Mortal Kombat movie?
I haven't seen those yet. I want to though.
Because they're doing a sequel now, I guess.
Yeah. I'm very upset that they're on 2 of these movies now. And now they have what's his name? The Australian New Zealand guy that's in every nerd movie.
Oh,
Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
Carl Urban.
The boys. Yeah, Carl Urban. There you go.
Yeah, they got Carl Urban, and he's playing Johnny Cage. Fine. Okay, that's still good casting. He's going to make a great Johnny Cage. Why wasn't he Kano?
Yeah, exactly. He would have been perfect for Kano.
It's right there. It's right there, people. David Zaslav, get it together, buddy.
That was another thing, though. My lore knowledge of Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat is just from the first couple games in the 90s, and I wasn't paying that much attention. So when the movie came out, I was like, this seems good. I don't know much about it.
Enough lore to care about.
Yeah.
Now, Mortal Kombat is lore, again, not good at fighting games, but I love Mortal Kombat lore. It's so stupid. It is so dumb. But it's so perfect in that same way. That's another one. Like I get this gaming laptop. One of the first things I did is I threw an emulator on it and I'm playing Mortal Kombat PS2 games.
Of course.
Because that's, because they're just so
just return to the
weird and goofy. Yeah. I want to talk a lot more about that, but you have something to show off, and I want to get.
Oh yeah, I got show and tell today.
Oh yeah.
So, a new thing just released. We've been.
This is an unboxing, by the way.
Yeah, the collectors have been waiting for this for a long time. Update.
Yeah, and hold on. Like I know the internet loves an unboxing, so let's give them a minute. Be like, hey, if you know people that like unboxings, the 4 of you that are watching this, text them real quick and get them to tune in because we're going to open a box and pull something out of it.
Live unboxing.
The internet goes wild over that stuff.
So
I've done myself. It's fun.
Jazzwares is we've been begging Jazzwares for a very long time that we need new FTR figures. Because they did only 2 other sets of FTR figures. I've got the first set they did right here. As we're gonna do a comparison, but these are
nice
FTR, and you see Dax over here. He's got full beard. He hasn't had that beard in many years.
Yeah.
So we've been begging him, give us a mustache, Dax.
Those jackets are molded.
Yes. So these are like rubber molded plastic. You can't lift their arms. So,
those are just straight up the big rubber figures.
Exactly. So you cannot pose them with the jackets. Also, if you notice their jackets, okay, so Dax has the D on his, which is also part of his logo that's on his trunks. But then Cash on his, it just says CA. They didn't finish the logo. There should be an S and an H that was part of his jacket when he actually wore this jacket. They just did half of it and they just left it. I don't know why.
Right. Now, I asked you about the jackets because I need your opinion on this, and this is the perfect segue to it. What do you think about soft goods on action figures?
Well, we're going to learn about that with the jackets with this set.
Okay.
For the most part,
look at this.
You're
good at this whole thing.
I see why people don't like soft goods on action figures because a lot of times they look bad and it looks like a doll. And it's just it doesn't fit really. I like what Mattel has done, and also Jazzwares has done this with like some of their Supremes. Mattel does it a lot with their Ultimates, is they make an additional set of arms that are the jacket arms. And then you can pop those off and put just the sleeveless arms on. So they're still posable when they're wearing the coat or the jacket or whatever.
Nice.
And because, it's just built into it. But
also, real quick, the view count went up by 1 after I told you.
Somebody told somebody.
Yeah.
So this is the box it came in. FTR
nice.
Living Legends. It's a Ring of Honor figure.
Okay.
So these are modeled after Ring of Honor. Open it up. There they are. These beautiful guys.
Oh, look at that. I was going to say, make sure you get that side of it because I got the palm trees over here.
Yeah. So, and it's all worn. It looks worn on the sides. It's made to look like a VHS tape, just a giant VHS tape.
And is that like a nice, like thick cardstock, cardboardy kind of thing going? Not
super thick.
I like it. Looks like flat and like matte and everything.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. And then slides out.
Oh, nice.
Like a VHS tape.
Yes. Oh, tape trading. Look at that. Look at that.
So there they are. They've got the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships there. They've got soft good faux leather jackets.
Okay. Those look good so far. Like,
yeah.
I'm a big soft goods hater.
Yeah.
So well, I like molded rubber or plastic, you know. Like, but you know,
with these new Jazzwares, they've done it now with I know the ringside exclusives they did recently, the Jeff Jarrett and then Konosuke Takeshita and Switchblade Jay White. They all had soft goods kind of faux leather jackets.
Okay.
And they're good. They don't look too big on them. They kind of fit them just right. And I'm like, you know what? If these are the soft goods they're going to do, I'm for them.
Yeah. I've seen pictures of that new Swerve Strickland with the robe.
Yeah, like, so that's the Comic-Con exclusive.
I get behind that. That robe looks good.
Let's see. So we got just the C-grip hands that are on them, and then they each have a set of fists, closed fists.
Just fists.
Take them out. So these figures are based on the Final Battle 2022, the dog collar match they had with the Briscoes.
I just watched it. It's on the YouTube. That's on the ROH YouTube now. That whole trilogy.
Yes. Yeah, I was checking that out earlier.
I was like, wow, this is.
And they've already released those figures. That was on Jazzwares Vault a little while ago. So I've already got those figures. And those came with the dog collars.
Nice.
So this is what I like about Jazzwares. They pop apart. You can just take the torsos off.
Oh,
so it's always cool if you want to like change the gear on your guys and you got multiple figures. You can just be like, cool, I want to pop this torso on this these legs.
Nice.
Okay, so they always have like the plastic wrap around everything.
That reminds me of Kit bashing GI Joes back in the day.
Oh yeah, you just unhook them from the little rubber piece.
Yeah, I really like Storm Shadow's torso, but I think he needs Road Pig's legs.
Yeah. All right, let's get it back together.
Which, by the way, was the inciting incident of like getting you on again. When talk about toys, I've been listening to like Toy Geeks and been talking about GI Joe. I'm like, oh, I need to talk about toys right now.
I was never
so I don't buy them.
I was never a GI Joe guy. I remember though in grade school, a lot of the kids were getting into GI Joe, and they were like at recess, they'd bring their GI Joes.
When I was,
I was like, I need a GI Joe. Then I went to like the drugstore and bought one.
Yeah, my elementary school, like growing, it was like GI Joes and Transformers. You took those to the playground, and you trade them like prison cigarettes.
Yeah. All right, we got Dax fully out. Let me get Cash. There's just so much plastic to remove. I appreciate that Jazzwares does this, where they put a layer of plastic between like the soft goods and the figure. Unfortunately, it's because a lot of times the material they use stains the figure.
Okay.
So,
I was going to ask if it was like a stain or like it gets sticky or.
Well, at least the early ones they would stain. So I'm hoping with these soft goods now that they're using something different, because what sucks about that means that you can't store them and pose them in their, or display them with their like entrance jackets or t-shirts or whatever they come with. So I hope that's not the case, because I definitely want to pose them with these jackets because they're so freaking cool. I can actually pose them now, not just their arms by their sides. But I mean, what did they do? How do you pose FTR? They don't really have poses. They're not like.
I'm trying to think if they got they don't really have a signature like.
So here we go. We got Cash.
Check the chat. Might be blown up here. I don't want to miss anything.
Where's it?
All right, real quick. We got a new face, a new name in the chat. Devil Dinosaur. Ready for this unboxing?
Yeah.
Check that out there.
Of course.
Satin jackets. Satin jackets are faux leather.
Faux leather.
Faux leather. Yeah, I really do want one of those Living Legends jackets. I'd pay money for that as my go-to leather jacket.
Yeah, I love the design.
Dinosaur also loved Kit bashing Joes back in the day. Yes,
that's another thing. Also, with just like
top blue, and it says, "I love my daughter and this business." There it is. There.
Exactly. That's what Dax is thinking at any given time.
Dinosaur, thanks for joining us tonight. This is nice to see a new face or new name at least.
Oh, and I'm so happy to see too that Dax's jacket just says Dax on his.
Yeah.
And then they have different jackets. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
No, they made completely separate jackets for each of them.
Wow. I thought they just both were the Living Legends, but yeah, you're right. Because I was like, Dax actually says Dax on his. Whoops.
Yeah.
And then it just has
FTR. It's got the that logo. And then what is Cash got going?
Cash has got
got the 5-star
FTR and then the Living Legends on the front.
Stripies. Yeah, that's the one I was like, I'd wear that as like my go-to like motorcycle jacket when I get my bike running. I don't even care.
So the front of their gear says FTRIP, and on the back it has the dates of the 2 other matches they had in the trilogy with.
Yeah, I remember they were wearing. I remember watching that, and it was like, what are the? Oh yeah, it's the other two matches.
So
that's so cool.
The face on Dax is so much better than the original.
Yeah, that's. Oh wow!
Because this does not look like Dax at all.
No, that looks like Perry Saturn.
Yeah.
And
then I think that
Saturn eating a lime or a lemon.
The other FTR figures they had done were the ones from the first ever Blood and Guts match, where it was the Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle, and those faces looked even worse. I was like, I don't know who this guy is. But yeah, there you go. That is the new Jazzwares I think they're just exclusive to Jazzwares Vault,
Nice.
where you got to go to get these exclusive 2-pack of the FTR figures. Much needed. Big upgrade.
Yeah, that's cool. They those, and I gotta say, like, the jackets look good. Like,
Yeah, they've even got like a little collar and cuffs on them that are just like a different material.
oh wow, yeah, they really. That's the best soft goods I've ever seen on an action
Yeah.
figure.
I mean, it
Like
looks
that's
like leather, yeah.
yeah,
And it's similar to the Jay White jacket on his figure, both his figures, the red and the black.
nice. Look at that. Look at this. Just a action figure technology coming such a long way in such a short time.
It's cool seeing good figures coming out from Jazzwares as well,
Mm.
AEW, because right now they've really slowed down production. They haven't announced really or shown us a lot of like upcoming lines. I think it's one of those times where I think they're kind of trying to restructure and kind of get everything back on track.
Yeah.
Because there's some people they have to cancel and stuff. I think they had more, I don't know if they're still coming out. I know they had some more Lucha Brothers figures to do. So I don't know if they're still going to do those. They also had a Mariah May that was
Oh,
in an
no.
upcoming lineup, which one of them I know they said we're still doing it. So I don't know. But that happens all the time with guys leaving. Ricochet had a figure out or just after he showed up in AEW, he had a WWE figure out. So it happens all the time. It's kind of cool for collectors because then you don't have to wait to get your action figure. Like, oh no, they just debuted. It's gonna be like another year until I get an action figure of them. But you're like, oh, they were just in AEW. I have an action figure from Jazzwares, or
Nice.
they were just in WWE. I can get a Mattel action figure and just put it on my AEW shelf.
Is there for you a noticeable difference in quality between the two lines?
Not so much quality. It's kind of subjective. There are certain things that I like more from Mattel and certain things I like more from Jazzwares. Mattel's Ultimates are, I think, second to none. I think they're amazing. Those are like the high end of their collectible stuff.
That's Mattel. I mean,
so
they're Mattel for a reason.
But Jazzwares I like just because I feel like when you're comparing these to like the Mattel Elites, I like these better. I think the articulation is better for this size figure, and the idea of just everything is swappable. You can take the legs off and everything. You can take the heads and the hands off on all of them. It wasn't until recently that Mattel started doing that, where you can every figure, even if they don't come with an alternate head or hands, you can now still remove them if you have other ones you want to put on. And they didn't do that for the longest time. It's like, why wouldn't you? If you can do them with some figures, you can do them with all the figures. Just go ahead and do it so it gives people more options. Because people like to do fix-ups, as they call it in collecting, where it's just like, oh, you know what? That body's great, but that head on that one is better. And then hey, this jacket fits with this guy better than that guy or something. And you can kind of just, mix and match some parts. Like you said, kit bashing.
Yeah. Nice. Nice.
But I kind of like them both equally. I like that they're both in scale, the Mattels and the Jazzwares, so you can just mix and match.
I'm surprised, but I'm also not surprised they do that. Because it seems like it seems like a way you could be a little petty about it and just make it just a little off. Like Jazzwares could have made their figures just like slightly bigger.
Yep.
So you get a Ricochet that's just a little bit taller than Roman Reigns.
But Jeremy Padawer, working in the business, knows better. He knows that we're going to do better if they can collect both, sets,
and they can all work together in the same. The photographers want to have their dream matches, and they need the figures to be in scale with each other.
And there are some lines though some companies make wrestling figures that are not in this scale. They'll be slightly off. I know Storm Collectibles has done some wrestlers. I know I've got the one of the Jushin Thunder Ligers, and they run a little bit bigger than everything else. And then there was the new company that's making they're making TNA figures, but they did some of these Legends guys. Power Town is a company, and they did some older guys, like they did Magnum TA and Bruiser Brody and Vern Gagne, and then they did a Matt Cardona and Brian Myers 2-pack, and now they've partnered with TNA and they're making the first line of TNA action figures, but they also run a little bigger. And I'm like, I think that's not a good idea. That's a detriment to you. Because also Boss Fight Studio with their Lucha Libre line, they also were running a little smaller. And I think a lot of people chimed in enough that they're like, oh, okay. And they changed their scale now to match Mattel and Jazzwares. And I was like, that's perfect. And now they've got a Roosh and a Drolistico that they're coming out with soon. So I'm like, that's perfect. That will fit in with my Jazzwares AEW figures.
Nice. I'd love to see a Roosh figure. That's
oh man, and it looks good too. The pictures they've showed off so far.
Give me a Roosh and a Beast Mortos.
Yeah. Well, they did a Black Tauros Beast Mortos before he was Beast Mortos. So they do have one of those. It's not like it's on their kind of more basic line. It's not like they're more advanced. But I did a figure shot of that a few days ago.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, more of those, please.
More of those, yeah.
But that's the problem too with these smaller companies. They announce these upcoming figures, and you're gonna have to wait like a year for them.
Yeah,
and you're like, they're gonna be great when they finally get here, but man, and then I'm just be waiting for you guys to do another set. And it's gonna be another year or two before something else comes out. But yeah, you got to be patient when you're collecting.
That seems to be the theme.
That's with
patience. So what do you think about, just one last thing about action figures and stuff, what do you think about the impact Matt Cardona and Brian Myers have had on figure collecting in the
a huge impact. I mean, one of the reasons why I started collecting was because I was listening to them.
Yeah.
And I just stumbled up when they were still with WWE and they had a show on their network.
Oh,
like,
the
Figure It Out or something.
Yeah.
Where they would go, fig hunting, go to toy stores. And
Matt Cardona would spend his entire paycheck, and Brian Myers would buy like, oh yeah, I got this.
I got this thing for my kid.
Yeah, I got a rubber surfer sting and a pack of gum.
And Matt Cardona buys an early prototype of Big Boss Man figure.
Yeah, it's got the 2-up Big Boss Man. There's no paint on it.
But yeah, watching those videos got me into them, and I started listening to the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, and then them getting into them just loving figures so much, and then getting their hands in it and helping out. When they first partnered with Super 7 to do Matt Cardona and Brian Myers figures, they were there the whole way, giving them input and what to change and how to make it more accurate and everything. And they did amazing figures that were very expensive. So I did not get those.
Yeah.
But then they partnered with Power Town, the same thing, where they're like, throughout the process, they're like, oh, let's do this. This looks better, because they know what the collectors want. And then I got those figures and they look amazing. Again, they're just out of scale. But yeah, I think they're, and then them starting their own companies as well. They did the Major Bendy's line, which was a spiritual, what was the old one? The Bendums, WWF Bendums back in the day. The rubber guys. Their spiritual successor. That's the word I was looking for.
There it is. Yeah.
And then they get Big Rubber Guys. That is their spiritual successor to the LJN line as well.
I was talking about the LJN, the Big Rubber Surfer Sting. I had that one. I didn't watch WCW, but I saw. Yep, I was like, I gotta have that guy.
So that's the WCW Galoob.
Awesome.
Galoob made the WCW rubber figures, so he's a little smaller. Galoob, well, they also did. I guess there was San Francisco toy makers. They made the bigger ones that came a couple years later. I don't know if that's the Sting you had.
But no, that's the one I had. Like as soon as you put him on camera, I was like, "Hey, that's the guy."
Someone gave me this years ago, and now he just lives on my desk.
Yeah. I remember he was so much more fun to play with if I left him in the car while we were inside somewhere.
He softened up a little bit.
Softened up a little bit. I could bend him a little bit more. So he'd always ride with me to like we're going to the mall or whatever. He was always in the car with me.
Nice. Yeah, that was another line where I wasn't into wrestling at the time, but
Yeah.
years later, someone's like, "Hey, I found this old Sting figure I had." I was like, "I will take it."
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. He was when we were playing with uh, the old WWF figures. Like he was there, didn't do much. He just do a run in, bounce, jump off the ropes and knock somebody over.
Did you
And the
ever
hacksaw
do
come in,
the?
oh!
Did you ever do like the old Fig Fed that some people did, where they
Oh, we
ran
didn't
a
know.
whole promotion with their action figures?
We weren't that smart.
We didn't do that either.
We
What I did,
yeah.
my friend,
I had like
whenever I'd go to
3
my
Ultimate
friends,
Warriors, so there was no way to do a Fig Fed. It was just
yeah.
like
Well, I used to go to my friend's house and he had a lot of GI Joes, and I think we just dump out like all his action figures. So we'd have like the old DC superheroes, and he'd have like the X-Men figures and just random stuff. He had like, remember movies in the 90s? They would just, any movie would just come out with action figures. So he had just like, oh God, what was that movie? They made a TV show out of it too, where they'd walk through it.
You're not narrowing that down at all. At all.
Where they'd walk through a giant ring portal thing.
Stargate.
Thank you. I couldn't think of Stargate. Stargate had action figures, and he had those, and Waterworld.
You go to the Stars Inn.
Yeah, the gate thing.
Devil Dinosaur RoboCop. That's what I was thinking. It was like the movie they made it, the TV shit. Yeah,
yeah.
Because I remember the RoboCop series, and I remember I had T2 Stargate. Yeah,
well, I randomly had a police car from RoboCop, but I didn't have any RoboCop
police car
figures.
was a top tier toy. That thing ruled.
I think I got it from someone else. I was like, "That's awesome! I want that."
It was just bad vacuum molded plastic, but it was so cool.
Yeah,
I love that. But it was all the rated R movies back in the day got
toys. Aliens had action figures.
Yeah.
So, we'd go over to his house, and he had the big GI Joe base, and he had like a bunch of the vehicles. So we'd always say we'd dump out all of his action figures, and we'd have like a draft where we each pick our team. And then one guy would get the base, and they'd have to defend the base, and the other guy got all the vehicles, and they'd come storm the base. And then we'd always be like, okay, we have to keep it fair. So anytime you lose a guy, you have to lose a guy. So it's just like, okay, and this guy comes over here and he kills that guy. Like, okay, cool. And then he retaliates by doing this. And then we always had like our leader at the end. We're like, he's the last one to die. So it's all going to culminate with like this. And then we do like a coin flip to see who wins. Yeah. And then we just play it out.
Oh yeah. Now I definitely a couple times got all my action figures out, and it was like the battle of all battles. And it was like all my Transformers and G.I. Joes and my Ninja Turtles and random Ghostbusters figures were fighting all the villains on the other side. And then my giant like 12-inch Ninja Turtle that I had was like the big like enforcer.
I remember those.
Yeah. And he was like, I'm doing a power wave, and just like knock everybody over. Like, oh, toys are so much fun. Once I get out of my all-in ticket and parking debt, because I just realized, I have to pay for parking too. And that's
like, take a loan out.
Yeah. I just thought about that today, and I looked it up. It was like, parking. The cheapest parking is like cheapest official parking is like $40.
If it makes you feel any better, it won't. But I paid for parking today and didn't even park.
What? How did you manage that?
I've been on a small little vacation. I took a few days off this week, and yesterday I was off, and I decided there was a state park near me that had a bunch of hiking trails I've never been to. So I was like, I'm gonna go hiking. So I went out there for a few hours, and I just went out. You pay, it's only $5 to park at the park. You get an all-day pass. Went out there and I went hiking on the trails. It was great. Had a great time. And then I was like, I want to come back and do this tomorrow on 4th of July. So I get out there, and even when I pull in and I pay at the little booth, there's like no cars in front of me or anything. So I was like, oh, okay. It's not a lot of people here. I expect there's going to be more people than the day before because it's 4th of July. But then when I get into the parking lot area, there is not a single parking spot there at all.
Oh no!
I don't know why they're still letting people in this area. So
what's up with that?
And And then when you leave the parking lot, there's a sign that says additional parking, and it points to an area. And if you follow it, it just leads you to the exit. And then as I'm leaving, I'm back by the booth where I came in and I paid for parking, and there's just a line of cars at this point. And I was like, it was $5. Oh, well, I just left. So I was like, all I did was I drove over here, gave a woman $5 and then left. That was my day. And it was very busy. I was like, wow, this isn't worth doing on a 4th of July.
Jesus. I'm sorry about that.
I just gotta laugh. It's fun. So I hope your parking experience at All In is way better.
Yeah, I know I can pay. I don't have to pay ahead. I can pay when I get there and just find a spot. And I know I could look it up. I can find a cheaper lot nearby that's not a little farther of a walk, but not in one of the official lots that costs $30, $40, $60.
Going to an event, like, parking is number one, the thing that gives me anxiety. Just thinking about, like, oh God.
And I really didn't think about it when I bought the ticket. I just bought the ticket because, like, it's 10 minutes away from my house. I have to go to this.
Yeah.
This is maybe the only time I can afford a wrestling event this big.
Yeah. On that size, yeah.
This major.
Luckily, every AEW event I've been to, like, parking was a breeze, where there's no options. It's like, this is the arena parking lot and everyone's paying the same price, and it's not too much, and there's ample parking and in and out.
Yeah. Well, the only thing about this is, like, parking for any of the Rangers stadiums that have been in Arlington, which is where, all Y'all In is going to be at.
Y'all In.
Always been a weird nightmare scenario. And there's always a ton of businesses scattered around there that they will have somebody out there that works there, even if it's like an office complex, after hours, just be like, you can park here for $10.
Yeah.
And you just give them $10 and they just don't call the tow company. So I need to figure out where those are still located and see if I can get to one of those.
Yeah.
And then get in there that way. But speaking of Y'all In, I got a question earlier. I do take questions. Somebody asked, who do I expect, or who would I like to see as surprise returns at Y'all In? I think there's
in mind.
I think there's almost gonna have to be a Darby Allin and or Orange Cassidy.
Yeah,
because I really think they're building. I think they're building what's got to be the main event. Hangman and Mox. They're gonna do the AEW Avengers versus the Death Riders.
Yeah. And Orange was kind of leading that charge early on.
Yeah.
Reluctantly.
Yeah, they've got to come in. One of them has got to come in and be like the last savior.
Yeah, I think Darby definitely
holding off the last line of defense against the last Death Rider.
I could see them both showing up, because it's gonna be one of those things where it's, even Hangman already said that, I know the Death Riders are gonna be there. I know everyone's gonna be coming and attacking.
Yeah.
He's like, that's fine. I'm here to take it. But I think it's because he knows that he's going to have backup. He's got
people aren't going to
allow that to happen.
He's got Swerve. He's got.
So I can imagine it's just like they're just going to keep coming.
Yeah, and what I really want to see is I want to see them all get headed off before they get to the ring. Like, I want to see the entire match stay in ring.
Yeah,
and then they have to keep cutting to, like, Death Riders are trying desperately to get in there, and people are just like knocking them back at every turn.
Yeah.
Like, you're not like this, them, but it's all teaming going, you're not even getting close to this. Like, you're not getting in sniffing distance of helping your dear leader out here.
And then Moxley can be like, see, I did it.
Cool, like,
you've all come together because I did this. I made you better.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I mean, other
Well,
than
and then
that,
what about
like,
Jack Perry?
I yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is like there's got to be room for other, Jack
We gotta go
Perry.
down the line of who else is gone. Maybe
I
Keith
say Jack
Lee,
Perry probably interferes with the
Young
Young
Bucks,
Bucks.
and
Yeah,
Swerve, and Osprey.
yeah.
Yeah, I can see that definitely.
I think he
Um,
just distracts the Bucks and costs them. If
yeah, I can see that. It would be cool, Keith Lee, to return if he is in the
Keith
condition
Lee
to do so.
returning in Texas, whew, buddy,
Let's see who
put
else.
him in the multi-man. Put him in the casino.
Switchblade, Juice.
They do a wild card in a Casino Royale, right?
Do they? No, because everyone's just kind of a surprise. They
Who do
don't
they
do
do
it.
the
Yeah,
wild
they don't.
card in?
Well, in the battle royale, yes,
The Battle Royale.
but not
They do
yeah,
the wild card, right?
yes, but they're not. They're doing the gauntlet match
Oh yeah.
because that's what they've done. They've pivoted. They're not going to do the battle royale anymore because
Yeah.
they're
They're
like,
doing
well, that just everyone does that. So
yeah.
I
Well,
like
yeah,
that
put
they've
him in
kind of
that.
stumbled upon their own signature match
Yeah,
with
and
the
it's so
gauntlet.
put him in that. That's where
Definitely, because
he'll have
that
the
you
most
never know. Every
impact there.
entrant is a surprise. It's like the Royal Rumble.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, put Keith Lee in there if he's ready to go.
Yeah.
He's so secretive about what's up with him.
Yeah, I get it. If it's like health stuff, it's like, I don't want to
Yeah,
talk
it's
about
just it's weird that nothing's leaked.
yeah,
There's not just like some, even just rumor mongers making stuff up. There's
yeah,
just not a
which is like the Britt Baker situation.
Ugh.
Whereas it's like, I don't even
I
know what's true in that situation, and I don't really want to even get involved. I'm like,
yeah,
whatever.
I'm at a point I don't care. I
Yeah.
don't care about Britt Baker. Like people bring it up, I'm like, oh yeah, but we're the women's roster is so stacked. If they just use them,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
which I am sorry, I'm doing what I can. I know everybody thinks I'm a Tony Khan sleeper agent within the social media world. I don't know where that started, but I'm going to run with
Everyone's
it.
convinced that somebody in the super secret Discord is connected.
Yeah. So I'm trying, I got Tony's ear. I'm bending it a little bit. Like I'm not that involved. So I buy my own all-in ticket, but I'll do what I can.
Trying
As
to think
Tony
of
Khan's favorite sleeper agent.
I'm trying to think of anyone else who is out. Can be
Yeah.
returning. I'm
We
here. I'm
could
going to
get
pull
a
up the
big
roster
just
page.
return pop.
Yeah. God, there's some people who are just kind of like, what happened to the Guns? They came back and then they disappeared again.
They
Did
came back,
get hurt?
stomped, and disappeared again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a shame. They came back to challenge
The Hurt Syndicate.
and it's just like,
No, we never lost those titles, so can we get a rematch? Like, all right, cool. Gone.
God.
The rumor, I think the speculation is like their Juice is about to come back, and
yeah, they're probably just gonna be like, let's put you on the back burner until we got Bang Bang Gang all together.
yeah,
Because man, they've had just such bad luck, that whole group. Just every time they come back, somebody gets injured.
Every time they get momentum all at once, like somebody gets.
Eddie Kingston would be an awesome return if he's
I'm
ready, but I think he might still be far off. I don't know.
He's still rehabbing, as for the last I saw. But I mean, like, he doesn't even have to do anything. Just have him pop up for something.
Exactly. If he can come in and just to interfere in that Death Riders match, just to like be the last one to stand in the way of Moxley, just be like his good longtime friend is just like, no, man. Even I'm standing up against you. Like, fuck off. Sorry.
Devil Dinosaur, I would die if Kingston returned.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you said, that would be a great spot. Like, yeah, maybe like Mox rolls out, he goes to grab a weapon or something, and he grabs at like the belt to like hit Hangman with it, and as soon as he puts his hand on it, you see another hand grab his. The camera pans over, and it's Eddie Kingston. He's like, "Not today, partner."
That'd be great.
Book it, Tony. Come on, that's gold right there.
Yeah, I'm not really. Colt Cabana making an appearance in the gauntlet would always be fun.
Have him pop up on the pre-show.
Have him do anything.
Okay, Colt Cabana. You get the Costco guys.
Yeah.
On the pre-show, just talking, and have Colt Cabana just come in and lay him out and set up a match for later on. Set up a match for Collision the next week.
No, Colt's too much of a baby face to lay out those guys.
Colt lays out QT Marshall, who's trying to mess with the.
There you go.
Still trying to mess with the
Big Boom AJ.
Yeah, Big Boom. Boom.
And then there's really no one else that. I think those are the real big names that could return.
Yeah.
Make a really good
Devil Dinosaur, you think the Dark Order will be involved? I stepped away for a minute. Sorry if this is already mentioned. Where is the Dark Order?
Ring of Honor.
Okay, I don't watch enough Ring of Honor, so I haven't really. Are they just all messing around down there?
I think. That's the last I checked they were, but yeah, I'm so far behind on Ring of Honor. I've just stopped keeping up.
Or
it wasn't rewarding enough to keep up.
I forgot about the Hangman and the Dark Order like connection. That's another.
I feel like that's just they're done. I think they told that story and they kind of like left it where it was. Like that was the whole thing of them, coming together to stand up with him before in his story to defeat Kenny Omega and get the belt and again and everything. And I feel like they kind of just closed that chapter with that. I don't know, but you could always see them, they could come out ringside as well and help.
No reason not to include
be team AEW. Even though I felt like I think they did a heel turn, so I think they've been bad guys.
Oh no.
I don't know.
Imagine the entire roster hoisting Hangman on their shoulders. The last one to show up is Evil Uno. Oh.
And then they all lift him up on their shoulders, and then Evil Uno comes out and looks at them, and he looks down at Evil Uno, and Evil Uno gives the thumbs down.
Evil Uno does,
and then everybody turns on Hangman. No, that would be stupid.
Yeah. I don't know though. Like you don't do it that night, but like send the crowd home happy. But maybe Dark Order comes in and turns on Hangman. And that's his first defense is like maybe not Uno, but like I don't know. There's something there that could be possibly, I think this Hangman title run, he's just got to take all comers, like open challenge for the world championship, the men's world championship, and just squashing fools left and right.
I do like the opening
good
competitors. The open challenges are fun when like you get surprises. Like, who is it going to be tonight? And then they'll bring in guys. That's fun. Like, even when Cope did the Cope Open, like, you got, like, Matt Cardona showed up one night. Mm-hmm. Like, that was cool. And they have history from the Edge heads and WWE and everything. So, I like it for that.
Yeah. This is what I want. I just think his reign needs to be the polar opposite of Mox.
Yeah.
Where he's constantly like, This is the championship. This is the men's world championship belt. I am wearing it proudly. I'm taking it with me everywhere. You can see it all the time. I'm not hiding it. I'm not hiding behind anybody. Anybody that wants a shot at this, come at me.
Yeah.
Like,
I hope it's better than last time, because last time it was the build and it was such a good build.
It was the chase was him. Everything.
Yeah. And then once he got the championship, it was like, all right, now what?
Here's a guy.
Cooled off. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So hopefully it'll be worth it.
I think they're in a good place, and I think they understand. I think they understand their characters. The creative team understands the characters they have and how to book them better than they did, because I think now they've got a core of like, these are our main characters, our side characters, our tertiary characters, and they have a better idea of what they're playing with and how to arrange the pieces, because they stopped getting in random people every couple months just because it got released from somewhere else.
Exactly. They don't have a bunch of guys on the roster now that don't really want to be there. Everyone really does want to be there, and they are all kind of working.
Well, they don't have to
together
shake
make
up
it
the
best
main
show.
title scenes every couple months just because they got a new person in.
Yeah.
Like, well, we got CM Punk. Well, you're going to have to give him a title.
Or we've got somebody who doesn't work well with someone else or something like that.
Yeah.
Or this guy had heat with that guy and they punched him backstage, and then those guys are on suspension. That happened with multiple people. I'm not even just talking about CM Punk.
Yeah.
And those people are gone now. So I'm like, good. I feel like we're just in a better place.
Andrade's gone. Sammy's still there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But Sammy, I feel like Sammy, it was the position he's in now, I felt like was punishment.
Oh yeah, definitely. And there's a reason there's a reason they put him with Dustin.
Yeah.
As like, it doesn't just like putting that hand on the shoulder and be like, boy,
yep,
I'm gonna teach you some things.
Yeah.
Let's go get some belts and learn some lessons.
That was growing up to do.
Yeah, I think that was the perfect, like, we appreciate you. We love what you're doing around here. You're a good person to have on the roster, but we need to calm you the hell down.
Yeah. Definitely.
But that's, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing that they do.
Yeah. Well, that's why I always thought, though, that I was like, well, they need to stop making Sammy a baby face and let him be a heel, because he's so good as just a snarky heel.
He's got a punchable.
He's such a punchable face, and just the arrogance of him, it kind of worked for that character. And then every time they would try to make him a baby face, he would do something that would just kind of make you not like him.
Yeah.
And then
there's the disconnect and the dissonance of all that. And it's
so part of it's just like, just don't make him a baby face. But I also get that he had a younger audience because like his vlog and everything, and like Ethan Page with his vlog, it was hard to kind of keep them as heels, because in their vlog they're so great with their fans and everything, talking to everybody and just spending time with everybody and being really cool, where it's just like, oh man, I guess we have to make you a baby face. But it's like, well, they work as a heel.
Yeah. That's blurring the lines and the kayfabe of it all.
Hold on 1 second.
All right. Well, okay. Oh. You got a. What do you got there? Oh, breaking out the.
It's time for that hazy IPA.
Time for the hazy IPA. Nice.
So
crack into that. I mean, what do we? Oh, you already got. I'll get to it then. I was gonna start wrapping things up. I don't know if we got much else to cover.
Yeah, I'm gonna drink this regardless.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't want you
it's
to.
It's not because we're doing the show.
Like, okay. But yeah, this has been another episode of the pregame. Appreciate everybody that's joined, checked us out, jumped in the comments, set questions in.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, it's been a good time. Zerp, plug your plugs. Tell everybody everything about you.
Find me. Yeah.
Give them your
address. Check out my figure photography on Instagram is where I mostly post that. It is ZERPIE_MD on Instagram. There it is on screen. Thank you. You can also find my threads page through that. And then I co-host the Bubba Cast.
What's up, Bubba?
With Lacey Trailer. So again, that is the Big Bubba, aka Big Boss Man podcast. Every other week we put out an episode, unless we take a summer vacation, which we did recently. But whatever, just subscribe to it wherever you get your podcast. Spotify. We are even up on YouTube, audio and everything. So check that out.
Cool.
That's it for my plugs.
All right, nice. Yeah, once again, this has been the pregame. Thanks for everybody for checking us out. I am Kurt Jangle, the only adult on the internet, and Tony Khan's favorite sleeper agent. Check me out wherever you find Kurt Jangle when you type in Kurt Jangle into a search engine. It's not difficult. And also the only adult on the internet.com. That's got all the links to all the stuff that I do. Except I don't think I've got my Untapped on there. I need to check into that. If you like beers and beer ratings, I'm on Untapped, also as Kurt Jangle. So anyway, this has been another pregame. You've been awesome. We've been awesome. See you next time. Love you. Bye.